So here we are, Woodland Park, 8,500 feet. Round two coming up here. We came up here in 2018 and we did a camp. It was Gwen and Shalane. Gwen was, Shalane's sparring partner leading into Boston. Different time then, Stanley was 6 or 7 months old, a little bit easier to contain him. Now he's 2.5 and he's full gas all the time, which is awesome. But now, I guess instead of now being up here getting ready for Olympic trials for the marathon, we're up here getting ready primarily for the 10Ks, what the work up here is focused on. So volume a little bit down, intensity a little bit up, and just dealing with the training rigors from that. What's just so different is this time around is just all of, looking back, there was a lot of compensation that Gwen had to make, given her foot, that we're not having to deal with this time. So obviously a lot of stuff is the same. Gwen's treatment regimen is obviously pretty rigorous. She gets treatment all the time, just to keep the calves loose on both sides, hips, all that. Running is just such an intense pounding sport that you do still have to pay attention to that. I think she ended up running real close to 160 kilometers last week, so still a lot of proper running. So what am I doing when I'm here? Much the same. Primarily it's making sure meals are timed properly for her, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Big thing that we've been doing here is prepping the meals for lunch. We prep those for during breakfast. Those come down the hill with Gwen. She finishes her run, chows immediately after, and then either hits the gym or we just come straight back up the hill. So, we just try and get as much time up here breathing the thin air as possible, getting that 8,500 feet, trying to boost the RBCs, we call them, the red blood cells. Then we'll see where we leave from this camp and what, there might be, we'll call it like an intermediate race where we've done 30 days, we drop down, do a little quick jog somewhere, come back up, do another proper couple weeks up here before going back home to Portland and getting ready for a proper quick 5K at some point after that. So we'll even think about why come to altitude? Why do you come? Why do you search out a place at 8,500 feet? And what's the benefit for running? So where we live, Portland, I'll call sea level here. We live at Portland. I think our house is at 450 feet. Right now we're staying at 8,500 feet. So thin air causes the body to boost the amount of red blood cells to try and make up for the lack of oxygen. I think I'm explaining that properly. And then what the idea is you build up a surplus of red blood cells up at the higher altitude. Then when you come down to sea level, I'd call it your perceived, but your true exertion is also easier because now you're able to breathe that full oxygen-rich air at sea level. So that's really the point. You can do a couple different ways. What we'll do is we'll go up to altitude, minimum 30 days, then come down. You've got a runway after that for, we call it up to 5 weeks. One technique that we'll use to hang on to the red blood cells is Gwen will probably do a pretty heavy sauna protocol. That increases your blood plasma, which helps your blood keep the red blood cells. So that's something that we'll do when we come back down to sea level. The biggest thing that I think though is going to camp isn't necessarily the altitude benefit. I think that there's a bigger benefit for, okay, I'm going to camp. It's a mindset. It's away from the distractions. The days here go by really quick. There's a lot going on, especially when we've got to drive down the hill 35 minutes down and then back up every day. So we lose a little bit of time driving, but there's a mental focus and a mental rigor that we're really trying to maintain and find when we're up here at altitude. So I actually think that's a larger benefit than the altitude. Altitude, you have a very high risk of overcooking yourself. So I call it, you come here the first week, you get the fever, you want to go hard at camp, and if you overcook yourself, that's really hard to come back from. So first week, we keep the training pretty minimal, pretty light, and then now you'll see Gwen ramp it up. So purely my observation. I'm not Gwen's coach, I'm not a trainer. This is just, you know, a little bit of my knowledge from what I've seen. There's a bunch of deer in front of our house. What I've seen as an athlete, and then also watching an athlete. So, yeah, so I think Jerry's big thing is he thinks the magic happens at 8,500 feet. So that's where we seek out. So that kind of eliminates some places that are really common, like a boulder or a flagstaff. So to sleep at 8,500 feet and have access to decent weather in the winter, you really only have two options. You really only have one option, and I'll call that Woodland Park. In the summer, the other ones that are available, you know, you could do Mammoth because you can drive down the hill quite a ways in the winter as well. But to sleep at 8,500 feet where there's a lot of rooms available, you're really looking at Woodland Park, Park City, and then there's just a small corner of Mammoth that you can sleep above 8,500 feet. Yeah, and then we go down to Colorado Springs primarily for the morning sessions and for the workouts. So where they worked out today at Cheyenne Mountain High School, that's in the high corner of Colorado Springs. I mean, I think that's really close. That's flirting with 7,000 feet. That's 6,800, 6,900 feet. I'd have to check that, but that's one of the higher points of Colorado Springs where they do their work. Where they're running along the Santa Fe Trail, that's at 6,100. So yeah, that's what they do there. So you feel it. You feel a little bit easier down there as well. The point of this camp, I think, one is to just get fantastic training in. On the back end of that, I'm assuming it's going to be to try and run a quick 5K at some point. So my understanding is the 5K standard is 15:10. You've got to go somewhere and run sub 15:10 to get that Olympic standard ticked. So I think that's another goal of this camp. Really, the biggest thing though is we're looking to build consistency. We want to success comes off of consistent work, and you want to just keep stacking weeks without any setbacks. You know, and that was the biggest thing that she had as a positive going into Rio, was there was just no setbacks and so much work that was stacked on itself. So looking to get back to that post-surgery, and the last 3 months has been really good, but 3 months of great training is at this level that's not even average. It's not even the bare minimum. That's what you have to do. You got to have that and a lot more months to be seen as competitive. Yeah, hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Haven't seen me for a while, maybe since the compost pile. Bought myself a pitchfork. I mean, and look at this. This whole pile, not that long ago, because I got some yard waste in here, was up to here, and it's just slowly compressed down. And I don't know that I'll even turn this into compost, but I just wanted to have it not go to the landfill. So, which is still going strong. I'm really missing it. We can't compost here because I think there's just too many animals. There would be a few too many critter sessions going on. So I had to take a break from the compost, which is a real bummer, but I want to thank you for watching. I'm excited for this next run of videos that's going to be going into some racing, going into some proper training. So thanks for following along. Let me know if you have any comments, you want to learn anything more about myself or Gwen mostly. So thanks.
Who do we got coming back?
Gwen's coming. Look at her. Hey!
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm now gonna try to ride my bike at 8,500 feet elevation, so wish me luck. Thank you, Stanley. Thank you for the water. That was so nice. We need to stay hydrated at elevation.
Can you feel it more when you're at elevation, 8,500?
It's awful. I last time got really dropped from the B group, so I'm racing all women today, so hopefully I can stick with someone. There should be like a handicap. You can like type in your elevation, It's a good idea, isn't it? I'm gonna tell Zwift.